So today what I'd like to talk to you about is video on the web. Video is this really amazing storytelling medium. And as Simon mentioned, my background is in programming, but also in journalism. And in journalism, we're always looking for the best way to tell the story. And now that we really have the capacity to do high-quality, high-bandwidth video on the web, it's become an option for storytelling in journalism as well as a number of other fields. And one of the things that makes video special is that it allows us to combine visuals, moving visuals, and our visual channel is our highest bandwidth communication channel that we have available, with also the analytical and kind of atmospheric qualities of audio. And this makes it a really, really compelling medium. So video tells stories in ways that other formats can't. We can look at a couple of examples here. We have something like the Johnny Cash Project, which some of you may have seen. It's this kind of amazing collaborative video that was created by people contributing little frames of an animation, became this great collaborative art piece. This example here from the Science Times, the New York Times, is actually demonstrating how fire ants collectively behave both like a liquid and like a solid, depending on how you interact with them. And of course, there are kind of always the essential things like epic rap battles of history, Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs. And so these are all really great examples of video telling stories, communicating information. But the thing is that they're all still kind of video in a box, right? I mean, the Johnny Cash Project expands this a little bit. But really, most of what we do with video on the web these days is we still kind of cut a hole in the page and stick a video in a box. And I was recently having a conversation with a colleague of mine who does web video and documentary and journalism. And I said, if I were to say the words interactive video to you, what would you say? What would you think that meant? And he said, well, I think that would be an interactive that had a video in it. And the thing is that there are good reasons why we've tended to treat video in this way on the web, because for a long time, we didn't have a choice, right? We had to depend on third-party plugins in order to get video on the page. Full screen, which is kind of a really important quality of an immersive video experience, wasn't really available to us. But that hasn't been true for kind of a while. We now have native rendering of media elements in the browser. We actually have the capacity to make anything that we want to full screen with, of course, the user's permission. And so it's kind of time, I think, for us to start thinking about what are some of the other things that we could be doing with video to make it more of an expressive and kind of a web-native platform. So it's not to say that there hasn't been any work done in this area or any thinking of it. Certainly, I'm sure you all are familiar with the work of people like Chris Milk, artists like Chris Milk, who's collaborated with Google and others in the past. The Wilderness Downtown was this kind of amazing Chrome experiment that they did where you could, you had sort of pop-ups happening everywhere, and it was integrating Google Maps and your location. And it was just this really kind of cool, immersive, interactive music video experience. And then on the other side, on the platform side, we have things like Mozilla's Popcorn Maker, which is this great web-based interface where you can really pull in video clips from different places on the web. You can annotate them. You can have a Google map pop up or text subtitles and things like that. And so the thing is that these are really great solutions. They're really great ideas. As a journalist, and I think as developers, we all want to be able to have the opportunity to make these things our own, right? We're generally not going to be satisfied with things that are out of the box. One of the aspects of storytelling is really telling exactly that story. And if you talk to filmmakers, you're gonna hear the same thing. You want to be able to do exactly what you want to do. And so also, my background is in data visualization, and I wanted to, when I saw these things, I wanted to think about how data visualization could also be integrated into video and into the web. And so about a year and a half ago, I was actually at a hackathon with some colleagues who are sort of multi-platform journalists and filmmakers, and we were talking about this. And I was saying, data journalism or data visualization is really great for journalism. It lets us really leverage the web. We can link out to rich resources. We can pull in data live. We live in a 24-hour news cycle now, and we just don't have the people to keep things updated. So it's one of those things where technology really benefits us, and we're really able to create an interactive experience and an updated sort of real-time experience for our users, even though we might have, we don't have the people to kind of keep that stuff posted all the time. At the same time, data visualization, even at its best, really needs help to tell a story. You really need text or audio or something to really help it communicate. And in the case of video, you have this really communicative medium, this really just immersive and kind of evocative medium, but it's out of date by the time you edit it, right? There's just no way you're going to get a video with any kind of data information to the web in time for it to be relevant. And so we were talking about this, and we thought, well, is there a way that we can have the best of both worlds? Can we combine these two things and create something that is an immersive, really compelling storytelling experience, but also has that richness and that interconnectedness of visualization and being part of the web? And so what we came up with was this platform that we call Datadocs. It is an open source web platform that we've been developing for about 6 months. Kind of on the side, we got some very generous support from the Knight Foundation Prototype Fund to do this. And basically, the concept of Datadocs is very simple. On the page, all we do is we create a container div. We put a video inside that. We layer our interactive pieces over the top. And then we put our player controls above that. And basically, what this means is that we can arbitrarily display different pieces of content at different times, synced with the video. And those pieces themselves can really be made of anything that we want. To give the appropriate credit, we've created and submitted a couple of plugins for Popcorn.js, which is the JavaScript library that's connected to the Popcorn Maker. And then we've kind of tried to build some functionality on top of that to address some of the basic things like dealing with full screen, dealing with embedding, sort of scaling issues, that kind of thing. And it's very much a work in progress. It's designed for people who are not super experienced with coding. Our understanding is that people who work with video very often are not very experienced with programming. And so this is just sort of a quick example of how you would instantiate a basic Datadocs object. You can see in there, there's this text labels JSON, just a simple JSON file where you can kind of determine styles and timing and placement and size and all of that stuff. And so just to give you a quick example of an interactive version, once this renders out. So this is just a really quick sample using some interactive visualizations.
Produces 6 different unemployment rates with different definitions. The one that's published on the front page of the paper is the most narrow definition. Are you employed or have you looked for work over the past 4 weeks? But there are broader definitions of unemployment and underemployment. All those different measures of unemployment, underemployment are important indicators of how we're doing.
And so that's really it. What we kind of want this to be is, as I said, it's very much a work in progress. The code is all available on GitHub under my username, which is the same as my Twitter handle, Susan E. McG, also under the Datadocs GitHub repo. And really what we'd like this to be is kind of a starting point. We'd really like to engage the development community, the media making community, to kind of think about what this could be and contribute, whether you want to add sort of development or do feature requests, pull requests, all of that stuff is really welcome. We want to sort of think about what the next generation is for expressive video on the web. And if anyone is interested in sort of stopping by to talk about this, I'll be hosting an office hours session at 10:45 today. So would love to have anybody stop by and kind of hear what you're thinking. You can follow us on Twitter and all that. And I hope this will be a bit of an inspiration for you all to think about what we can do with this kind of next version of storytelling with video on the web. Thanks very much.